Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 314 for August 2nd, 2024. Deprecation, no cheating. From Zenatta Consulting, I'm Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, good. Real good. This will actually be my last show from the current house. We're finalizing the move this weekend, and so next week I'll be in a very similar looking setup. I'm going to try to get it as close as I can, hopefully with some better lighting. So that'll make Freddie, our editor, very happy, as he always has to do some last minute tweaks and adjustments to my brightness and saturation and all the magical things that he does to make me look a little less ghoulish than I normally do in this lighting.
Congrats. Fun stuff.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Oh, all right. Well, we have got a big show, but before we get into it, here's a quick word from our sponsor, us.
We're not lost. Well, did you use Zenatta's Google Address AutoComplete for Zoho CRM extension? What? It's an extension on the Zoho Marketplace for Zoho CRM. It allows you to update your leads, contacts, and accounts address fields using Google Maps address database. That way, you know for sure that your addresses are accurate and valid. It even shows you a map of the address's location. I don't need some widget to check my addresses. That's what my Mind Palace is for. Besides, they probably upcharge you on Google credits, so I end up paying for someone else's CRM with 1 million contacts. Actually, the extension allows you to create your own Google Maps API key, so you only pay for the credits you use. Oh yeah? Well then this Zenatta, or whatever you call him, they probably gouge you on the subscription plan. Yeah, make you pay for everyone who wants to use it. Actually, it's Zenatta, and the extension works for your whole organization for one monthly price. Or you can pay annually and save even more. Wow. How do you know so much about the Google Address AutoComplete for Zoho CRM extension? Oh, easy. I follow Zenatta Consulting on YouTube, as well as my favorite choice of podcast app. Well, okay. Let's head back to the office and make sure we get the address right this time. And you know what? I'm sorry I got so snippy with you earlier. You know, I've always considered you to be a good... Look out! Google Address AutoComplete for Zoho CRM by Zenatta. Download on the Zoho Marketplace today.
That is unhinged.
Oh my, Greg. What have you done? If you're watching this, it's the first time Tyler had seen that. Freddie showed it to me yesterday in rough form. That was it's just too good. It's too good. Anyway, on with the news. Hey, do you use Microsoft Teams? Well, guess what? You can now integrate it much better with Zoho CRM for faster collaboration. So you've got it. They already integrate with what? Cliq? Is that correct?
Projects, integrate with projects. I think there's a desk integration, a couple different tools. Obviously, Microsoft Teams has a pretty massive user base, as it's included with kind of the Microsoft suite of tools. Nice thing is, I mean, we use the Cliq version of this all the time, right? A deal gets closed one, it notifies a channel, maybe a task is overdue, that sends it to an individual specifically. So really nice. Looks like they've got sharing, auto notifications, even sharing like dashboards and things like that. Yep. So really cool. I mean, again, I don't love Teams personally as a user. That's just a preference thing. We all have things we like and don't like. But you have to acknowledge it's a massive player in internal communications for a ton of organizations.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people use it. It's probably the biggest one out there, I would guess. So yeah, there you go.
I think it is.
Nice integrations. So, and moving right along, you can now generate wizards effortlessly and preview summaries before saving records. So this is in CRM. It's basically creating, wizards, which are basically little things that kind of step you through something in the CRM, make sure you fill in the proper fields. But how is this going to help you automatically generate things? How is this going to change things for you, Tyler?
So yeah, that's kind of the question. So, we don't find ourselves using wizards a ton. They really only work on the creation of a new record. And a lot of the times, if a lead's being created, it's probably by a form or by an import or whatever it may be. So a lot of times we end up using blueprints and kiosks more. What they've done when they're talking about making wizards effortlessly is they've added a new wizard creation type. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see old one was blank. So you're basically starting with a blank page, dragging in any sections or fields. The new one is an automated creation of a wizard, and really it just looks like you're kind of picking from sections and fields there, and then it's going to automatically make the pages based on the sections, and then kind of connect them in a linear flow. Kind of interesting. I mean, if it's at that point, it is pretty similar to just creating a record normally. I guess you could exclude certain sections that aren't going to be known at the time of creations, just to trim down some of what might show up when a user's creating a record. But yeah, it's nice. We just, at the end of the day, we probably still aren't going to use these a ton in our processes. They did also add summaries to wizards. So what that is really just the ability to look at all of the data that they've entered at the end before they finalize and submit it. Reason is like if page 1 is first name, last name, email, page 2 is address, and then they submit. When you're actually doing the submission, you can't see what you put on page 1. So they've just added a way that you can get a summary at the end to make sure that everything is correct before you move forward. So that is nice. I mean, especially if you have a long wizard, like 4 or 5 pages, you don't want users to have to click back. Okay, yep, I got it. Forward, and then submit. So that I see a lot of value in, but kind of minor updates. But at the end of the day, I think for people who are using wizards, maybe for processes where sales reps are like sourcing their own leads and then entering them in, could be a good fit for you.
All right, and moving right along, if you use the Zoho CRM Sandbox and you're using configure price quote, well, guess what? You can now do it in the sandbox and do that. So if you don't know, Zoho has a sandbox in CRM that allows you to make changes, try them out, test them out before you actually push them to the live environment that everybody's using. There are certain things that you're kind of unable to make changes to in Sandbox that you can push. This has been one of them. They're slowly eliminating that, though, Tyler. It seems like bit by bit, more and more things are being included in Sandbox. And I think with the popularity of CPQ, there's one of them that needed to be added. So they've got that added in now.
Yeah, and this is really nice, I think, especially for people that maybe aren't even using CPQ at all yet. One of the things kind of behind the scenes is that once you activate CPQ, it's going to start doing stuff, right? Behind the scenes, like the minute that you have those rules configured. And so there could be a decent amount of people that are like, hey, we want to play with that, but we're not exactly sure it's going to work for exactly what we need, and that we're going to be able to support the rule set that we actually run our business with inside of it. So being able to do that just within Sandbox, really, really nice. Looks like it includes like all of the functionality. Like not long ago, they added guided selling, and it looks like that's also going to be supported as part of the Sandbox. So really nice. I'm a big proponent. Really, anything you can do, you should be able to Sandbox first. They've also done a lot of work on Sandbox deployments. Like I actually ran one on Tuesday where we were deploying something like 70 changes. It was a total undo of an existing blueprint and then an entire new blueprint that needed to be deployed. And Sandbox deployment was super smooth. I always used to have issues when I would deploy complicated stuff. You still do. A little pro tip for people who use Sandbox now. If any of your functions use connections, you do want to push just those first, go into production and connect them, then go back and select everything else and deploy it. But it seems like they've sorted out a lot of those issues where like it wasn't doing deployments in the right order. So you'd have to select in and kind of like do it step by step. So definitely recommend giving it a shot. Great time to try out CPQ now that you don't have to turn it on in production just to see if it's a fit for you.
Very cool. All right. And moving on, over in Desk, leaving CRM, you now have Cliq notifications for the activities module. So if, again, kind of talked about this a little earlier with what you can do with Microsoft Teams. Well, now in Desk, you can enable Cliq in your activities module. So basically, something happens, there's an activity in Desk that happens, you want that notification to go Cliq, you can set up those notifications now. Exceptionally helpful. I think we used to do this with scripts, but now you can just configure it yourself.
Yeah, so they've always had the Cliq notifications for tickets. Now these are basically going to support tasks, meetings, and calls, which not everyone uses. Like a decent amount of people in Desk are like, hey, a ticket comes in, it gets assigned to a person, they just work it and close it. But some people use Desk for more complicated processes. I was talking to someone the other day that they're using it for managing quote requests, and they might have to tap in an engineer for a particular type of quote. And that's where a task makes a lot of sense as kind of like a subunit of the ticket. So really nice. Anytime that we can direct a notification via Cliq or instead of email, we're happy to do that. So always like seeing these in the Cliq integrations.
Yep. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Moving right along with the news. Hey, you've got a new video-based issue reporting tool in Bigin. I tell you, I love this. As soon as I read this article this morning, I went and I said, oh, did they put this in CRM? But it does not appear that they did. But if you have a bug and you're a Bigin user, well, right down at the bottom where you've got the whole little need help thing, you can click on it and you can do a screen recording and basically record whatever your bug is. And then you can go ahead and send it off to them when you are done. Very slick. Nice.
Total win-win. Total win-win. Easier for Zoho support, easier for you because you don't have to write up and try to describe what you're seeing. We use a tool called Loom internally to do screen recordings. We do them for our clients when we finish any work for them. But all of our team uses Loom for reporting tickets as well. It's just really useful. Like we even have clients who start using it to report things to us, and we love that. Always easier to see it, whatever the issue is, just happen right in front of you. So this is one of those ones that honestly just makes everybody's life easier. I would bet that this will come to more apps because as someone who does tech support and can empathize with Zoho, seeing a video of something happen is just so useful when you're trying to figure out what went wrong. So yeah, great idea. I'd love to see this across the board, really, in every Zoho
and
app.
It's even got a super nice editor. So before you send it, you have the ability to edit it. They're showing an example if you're watching this.
Blur it,
hiding personal data, that kind of stuff. So just super nice. Super nice.
Really cool.
Good job, Bigin team. Let's see that on every Zoho application.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that feature across the board on every Zoho app.
That would make the Zoho support team very happy. I can tell you that.
Yeah. All right. And Zoho Vault got a desktop app. Was playing around with it this morning. It's pretty good. So it's got a desktop app for Mac, iOS, and iPad. So iPhone, iPad, and Mac desktops or laptops. Nice application. It's kind of interesting too, because one of the things we've always talked about is we have to use a different password thing because we're constantly logging into users' accounts, and if we were on, we have to log into their Zoho, so we have to log out of our Zoho to log into their Zoho. You can't kind of have that going. Yes, there are various virtual tools we use to do that, but you kind of need a separate standalone password manager, which you're not logged into. But anyway, this is nice. You can actually be logged into, have different Zoho instances. Not that applies to everybody, but I was playing around with it this morning. Super nice. Good job from the whole team. And I guess they just upgraded the versions for iPad and the iPhone because I've had those for a long time. So
yeah, they kind of snuck a couple new features in here as well outside of just like the local applications. So one, they support credit cards now as like a type of credential. They also added geo-locking, which is pretty cool. So if you had like a remote workforce, you want to make sure that people are only accessing passwords from certain places. Really the goal there being if someone got their vault password hacked, then that hacker would then have everything in the vault, right? So having that kind of extra layer is really nice, especially for large organizations. And then they also added the little slick autofill flow. So 1Password added this recently where it's like you pick a password and it just motors you through the login process. Really nice, just saves you a click or two, right? Nothing insane, but nice little quality of life thing. And here it is for Desk or for Vault as well. So doing a good job over there. I mean, it's a really solid password management tool.
Fantastic. Nice job, Zoho Vault team. All righty. And wrapping up the news here with a little bit of a public service announcement. If you are using Google Drive, Google Sheets, and you're connecting to them via Deluge and the CRM, it's kind of a rare instance, but you can. A lot of times people are using that as kind of an intermediate step. Link data goes into Google Sheets, and from there it then goes into the CRM, vice versa. Well, that connection in Deluge is going away because it looks like Google's identified an issue. And so on August 15th, that entire connector will no longer be working, and you're going to have to go through an entire separate step using custom services and setting up a separate connection that way to build that, to make it happen. So, but they have done a nice job. If this is something you use, they got a step-by-step video on how to get it all done and what's going to happen there. So,
yep,
there you go.
Bit of a pain in the butt, not really something on Zoho's side. Google is oftentimes updating their APIs and the rules around using them. And so it sounds like this is something that's kind of been put on Zoho, not something that they really want to do. Because obviously using a pre-baked connector is always a little easier for a developer. So yeah, unfortunately, sometimes they just have to abide by the third party if they want certain changes made.
But I would say that the Zoho Sheet Deluge integration, it doesn't say it's deprecating, so my guess is it still works, yes?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, should be unaffected.
It does. That works. So you could just, basically copy your, take your Google Sheet, make it a Zoho Sheet, and do it that way if you needed to. If it was just, especially if you're just using it. I mean, in most cases, don't you think this is just kind of like a little bridge step, for most people?
Yeah, oftentimes it's just sitting in the middle, right, between two different applications. Sometimes people use it as kind of like a long-term backup, kind of like a place for storage. I don't really recommend using Sheets in that way.
Right.
And honestly, the Google Sheets API is funky. I won't go down the rabbit hole, but it's not always the best to use. So yeah, good time to try out Zoho Sheets, or if you need to keep on Google, just follow their video and make a custom connection, and then you'll be able to get the same thing done.
All righty. And moving right along, let's get to our implementation of the week.
All right. So implementation this week is a custom integration that we built between CompanyCam and Zoho CRM. So CompanyCam, just for some context, is a really slick mobile application that allows like an on-site service provider to very easily take pictures, annotate them, and then put them in a folder for a particular project that they're working on. It's one of those tools where you could kind of recreate it inside of Zoho using like a creator form where you're taking images and uploading there, but it does so many nice things around annotation and organization of the photos and just the general ease of use of taking them that in this case, we told the client, hey, just stick with that, right? It's working great for you. All of your team's already using it. Let's not reinvent the wheel. Good news is it has a super robust API and a system of webhooks so it can receive and also trigger and send data back to a third-party tool. So first thing we did, essentially set up a little automation where when a deal is won inside of the CRM, a new project folder is created inside of CompanyCam, and that's really where like all the images about that project are going to land. Then we can define the naming convention of that folder so that we can always link it back to that original deal when data comes back out of CompanyCam. Then all we really needed to do was go into CompanyCam, set up a couple webhooks. So basically like a trigger, like a photo is uploaded. So CompanyCam sends data to a certain place where we're set up to catch it. So we can catch that data, bring it right back into CRM to make sure that any updates or relevant information that's in CompanyCam is just being passed directly back into the CRM for long-term storage there. So pretty straightforward automation in the scope of a third-party integration. It's really like one way and then later the other way with some very specific discrete data. So kind of the ideal integration to build. And yeah, it went super smoothly. Client is happy with it and using it. And the best news is they didn't have to retrain their whole team on a creator form to take those images. Because at the end of the day, like, the more complicated you make the system that an end user is using on site, you're just fighting an uphill battle, right? Where something like CompanyCam is so simple and easy. It sounds like a sponsor. It's not. They're not paying us. But it's just very good. So it's like, keep it and we'll integrate it. Let's not reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, you were totally impressed with that application, which is rare. It's kind of nice when you see an application that's so good. You're like, man, that's a good application. You know,
yeah,
so,
like I might recommend that to people in the future who want to build that in Zoho. I may just say, hey, check this out, you know, get a trial of it and see, because it was very straightforward to integrate. So you're not really losing any of that connectivity into Zoho.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Well, with that, let's head over to Club Zenatta and check out our code share of the week. All right. JP is coming at us with implementing delay in Zoho Deluge using Postman Echo. So sometimes when you're writing a Deluge script, you need there to be a slight delay to make sure that certain things happen. And things don't step on top of each other.
Yeah.
Before you do the next thing, you need to make sure that something has happened. So you want to give it some time to make sure that did happen before the next thing runs. Otherwise, that can cause problems. And so this is one method of doing that. Is this the only method we use, or is this just one?
This is kind of our favorite. So really the rationale behind this is that there's obviously a ton of different third-party APIs that you can reach out to and get a delay, which really all it does is you send it data and Deluge waits for a response, and it's just coded to not respond right away. And that's how the delay is actually done. But the thing is, if you were to pick a less stable provider of that delay functionality, you're going to periodically have stuff break in your code, right? Because it's expecting this 5 millisecond delay, but it doesn't happen. Or it never gets a response, and then the whole code just stops at that point. So the reason that I think JP is calling out Postman here is that they just have insanely high uptime on this, that like you can basically feel confident that it's not going to have a problem. Postman obviously just creates really great tools for testing integrations as well as kind of cloud services like this. So he's kind of just showing like, hey, our favorite way to add a delay is Postman. Here's exactly how to do it. You could do a similar thing with a lot of different services. It's just all about the uptime at the end of the day, because if you ever have a problem with it, your code's going to fail. It's just 100% it's going to fail at that point if it never gets the response.
And what does Postman charge for the service?
I don't know off the top of my head. A lot of their stuff is weirdly free. Like I use the free edition of Postman just for like posting test webhooks. I've always used just the free version. I've never had to pay a dime for it. There could be some cost. I don't see anything on their site. But yeah, really solid little service. If there is a charge, I'm sure it's very low. Postman generally is at like the bottom of the cost structure for any of these types of things. But they just create good tools. So we thought we'd put this out there for everybody if they need something similar.
Fantastic. And if you don't know, Club Zenatta is our online community, and we would love for you to participate. Basically, you can just head on over. All we require from you is your basically just your email address, and then you can participate in our community with other like-minded Zoho people who are asking questions, helping each other out. Is where we keep all the code shares. You can put in questions there for Azaz. Greg does tell me there is an Azaz coming, I'm told. I mean, so I'm going to leave that sign here for a little bit. But anyway, head on over to club.zenatta.com, and we think hopefully you will enjoy it and find it helpful. And with that, let's head over to Zenatta and see what's happening on our website. You know, it's always an odd transition when it's like, let's head over to Zenatta. Let's head over to Zenatta.com. I don't know, but anyway, we should say, let's check out our blog of the week. You know what I mean? But anyway, so our blog of the week is on Zoho Vault, and kind of timely. It just, they just did that nice new release of their desktop applications and updates. So, we've been going through a massive process here. You know, we pride ourselves in being experts on all of these various Zoho applications, and we are. But Zoho's put together certification programs, and we've just gone ahead and just basically nailed every single certification. We're getting everybody, you know, to have these certifications. I'm surprised at we have a lot of them, Tyler. I mean, a lot.
Many.
Certification. Yes. I didn't even know there was a Zoho Vault certification, but there is.
I didn't know there was a Bigin one until I signed up for that one. They've got them for actually most applications. I'd say they vary in the intensity. The Zoho People certification test is very intense. Like, you have to actually build stuff in an account. It's going to take days, versus other ones are more questionnaire style. But yeah, so I think it was Wayne, right, our director of marketing, that actually went and got the Vault certification.
Yep, and he has gone through and basically given you a side-by-side comparison of Vault, 1Password, Bitwarden, LastPass, NordPass, basically all of the major password applications, and kind of giving you a side-by-side, how Zoho stacks up against them all, and it stacks up exceptionally well, especially from a pricing standpoint. It's a great application. I use it all the time. The browser extensions are very good as well. It's just a nice app all the way around. So if you're looking for a password manager, go ahead and check it out. And I think they picked up a lot of business when one of the password managers, was it LastPass? Did they have a free plan, or someone had a free plan? They got rid of the free plan.
Someone had a free plan, and then they stopped having it. I thought it was LastPass, but maybe they brought it back since then.
It says here they have one. Maybe it was OnePass. I don't know.
Could be. I remember there was a big provider, and they end of life the free plan, and Zoho did a lot of marketing around that. It was like, hey, we still got one if you want to come over here. So I think, they did pick up some traction with that, and it kind of lined up well right as they were doing a lot of like redos and improvements to it. So kind of a perfect storm there for them to pick up some user base. Yeah,
very, very good. I guess our recommendation would be, if you can't use Zoho Vault and you want one, I find OnePass to be exceptional as well. So fantastic. And also on Zenatta, point out we've got a resource library. That is where we keep track of all of the Zoho apps. All of our videos are there. All of our articles are there. You can go through, get our ratings on these various apps, just kind of dive in and find anything you're kind of looking for. If you're like, I wonder how I can do that. Yes, you can go to our YouTube channel and search, but this is everything. It's our articles. It's our videos. We kind of break them all down. All of our guides are here, and you can go through and take a look at, hopefully find what you're looking for. That will be helpful in your journey, and it's all broken down by app. So head over to Zenatta.com, check out our resource library, check out our blog. And with that, Tyler, let's head over to YouTube and check out our tip of the week.
All right, so this is actually one that's it almost could have been called an Azaz, because we have gotten a lot of questions on this over time of just what exactly drives every stock number in Zoho inventory and thus Zoho books, because obviously when you have both, they become kind of the same. So this is everything around stock on hand, committed stock, and available stock. I basically grab an item, I go through the entire sales process, every single step, and show if it does or does not affect the stock and at what points those effects occur, right? So like creating a sales order, no effect. Confirming a sales order moves from stock on hand to committed. Invoicing takes it out of both and just out of your inventory as a whole. So this is just one that we do get those questions on. And once you see the walkthrough, it's like, oh, okay, I get it. I get how this is set up. But it's not always super obvious when you're first learning the application. So I thought this would be a good one to get out there for everybody.
Fantastic. Is it so not hard to do?
No. Yeah, this is all native. This is all the native functionality. It's really just not always clear, right? Of like what step is going to correspond to what, and at what points do physical and accounting overlap versus then where do they diverge based on where you're at. Right. So like if you invoice before you ship, there's going to be a time period where accounting is lower than physical, those little types of things that kind of can go wrong. I do try to highlight throughout the video as well some of the areas that you want to make sure you're doing every time, or else those divergences will persist and just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So just a couple important kind of tidbits there sprinkled throughout the video.
Fantastic. And if you don't know, we talk about it all the time, but if this is the first time you're watching our show, please head over to our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Zenatta. It's where all our videos are. We try to you get the latest and greatest. We drop several videos every week. And you basically, if you head over to Club Z, you say, I'd like to see a video on this. Or if you're watching a video on here and you're like, oh, that doesn't tell me everything I need, I'd like more detail on it, you can ask a question over on YouTube as well. We are happy to put these videos out. We're always looking for ideas and things you might want to see. But please do come on over, subscribe, hit the reminder button. We would love to have you. And if you've been watching us for a while, every time we get up to 1,000 new subscribers, an angel gets its wings. And so it looks like we're close to that, Tyler. I did some calculations, by the way. I looked at the average number of users we're getting and new subscribers we're getting every week. And I think Freddie and I were talking today. I think it's like October 9th, we will hit 20,000 subscribers. That's my prediction.
Very cool. Very cool.
October 9th. We'll see how close we are to that,
There, yeah.
But it does go up or down. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching the show. If you would like to get a hold of us over here at Zenatta, you can do so. I guess let's just go over here to the screen, Freddie. If you want to get a hold of us here at Zenatta, you can do so. Just head over to Zenatta.com and click on Book a Meeting, and you will be talking to someone here shortly.
On the website is also where you'll find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. If you want that news delivered to your inbox every Monday morning, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. And last but not least, we always appreciate when you like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.